Project Cars 3. Ugh. One of my unexpected successes this year was my video on Project Cars 3. In essence, it was a short review discussing the game's shortcomings, and in the end, like Grid 2019 before it, how sometimes being excessively inoffensive is the greatest offense. Since then though, the talk about the game has died down completely, leaving a dried up game that nobody really thinks or cares about. Still though, the game does have some of the most spectacular and interesting cars in recent years, most of which are lacking from Forza Horizon 5, which apparently is the only big racing game we could have this year, but I digress. Unlike Forza Horizon 5, I came out of Project Cars 3's car list quite pleased, as it had a truly eclectic, while not necessarily massive, list of vehicles. On top of this though, they also included some extravagant vehicles via DLC, such as here in the extremely well-priced and named Style Pack, including the Ferrari SF90, the Hennesey Venom F5, and the Lamborghini Sian. So, why don't we take these vehicles out for a spin, and compare them to some of the reigning top dogs in the hypercar industry? Well, those available to us in the game anyways. So, in summation, I'll be taking a look at the 3 cars in the Style Pack, as well as the Porsche 918 and the Mclaren P1. This thing can be seen as their clear competitors both in-game and in real life. Including the Huayra BC and Jesco in this comparison would be fun, but honestly fruitless, since whether in real life or in-game, the speed difference is simply too much for a fair comparison. Hosting this Hoedown will be the illustrious Bahrain Grand Prix circuit, as it's included in the Style Pack DLC. Bahrain contains sweeping turns, some twisting chicanes, and brutal slow corners to test handling, with multiple long straights to let these monstrous cars stretch their legs. So let's dive into it with, well, to put it nicely, the most boring of the 5. But boring in the world of hypercars is still, well, let me show you. Woo! And away we go there. Wow. Still super fast. I think maybe even faster in real life. I think an independent journal rated it at almost a 2.2 second 0 to 60 time. Absolutely crazy. So this is the Porsche 918. You guys know about this car already. It's got the Porsche Spider RSR prototype motor in it, of course tuned for the street, with turbos and a hybrid system, making nearly 1,000 horsepower, especially helped with this RSR package on it. Of course, no shame in using an upgrade package on this car here. Brings it a little bit more in line, price-wise and performance-wise, with the rest of the vehicles here. I think that's only fair. Let's talk a little bit about this car. I mean, it's got this very secure feeling 4-wheel drive system mixed with passive rear-wheel steering. Of course, not exactly going to be simulated in a game like Project Cars 3. No shame in that, though. Still a very solid representation about what the car is all about. Of course, just pinning it out of corners like that and just rotating the car in extremely quick ways and secure ways with rarely ever any oversteer. You really only get oversteer if you're overcooking it a little bit. You know, it may seem a little unfair pitting this up against things like the SF90 and the Venom F5, which have just huge horsepower numbers. But even so, look at this on the back straight, going about 270 kilometers per hour. Wow, could have taken a lot more speed through that corner, my bad on that. But even so, let's see how fast we can go through here. On the main straight here. 270, can we hit 300? Oh, I think we can. Hit 300, just to be safe. Wow, super early on the brakes there for me. You can go even harder on that. Wow, that's very impressive. Especially the braking too. Just went like a dime. 300 kilometers an hour to pretty much just 60 in no time at all. Just like the acceleration of this car out of the corners. Doesn't hold that acceleration quite like, say, the Mclaren P1 or the Venom F5, which is a bit of an unfair comparison, but regardless, it is what it's going to be pitted up against today. Yeah, I do have to say, it doesn't really hold these fast curves too well. Really what it's good at is just tight turns like that and then pin it out of there, just like that. That's what it's absolutely the best at. So it is at a bit of a disadvantage here at Bahrain. So I do think this will be on the slower side of things, but like I mentioned before, maybe given the confidence that it gives me, maybe we'll be able to ring out a faster time than maybe we otherwise should. The LaFerrari, and especially the P1, just have this huge compromise for very little gain weight-wise compared to the Porsche, which is just lavish with accessories and, of course, this 4-wheel drive system as well. as well as a full electric drive. It's just, in 2013 this car came out and it was really pushing the boundaries of what exactly was possible, and we're still struggling to keep up with this car today. It's just, it's amazing what we were able to achieve with this vehicle. So, what the Porsche lacks in raw speed, it more than makes up for in the corners, as well as ease of use, the latter of which is lacking from our next vehicle. The P1, the most berserk and hardcore flagship vehicle in recent memory. With barely any amenities and an iconic look with a mad engine note, this car single-handedly carved McLaren's name into modern motoring. The McLaren P1, man, what a flagship car. Just has such a reputation for being such a velociraptor, such a T-Rex through the corners. But really, it has to be said, Jeremy Clarkson sort of gave that impression in his awesome review for the car in Spa in the wet. It does have to be said, pretty untrue, actually. Racing drivers the world over have stated on multiple occasions the car is actually very easy to use, and is most agree that it's the most enjoyable to drive. It's really not this crazy Widowmaker vehicle that a lot of people got the impression of. It feels like it should be, right? It's got this crazy 900 horsepower hybrid system and rear-wheel drive only, and this super light body with a tub that weighs, I probably weigh more than the car, I'll be honest. Without the engine, I probably weigh more than it. Maybe even with the engine I do. But even so, it really just, something about it was just extremely well balanced. And you know, I do have to say, I'm glad that it comes through here. It came through in Assetto Corsa as well, which is probably the most accurate representation we have of that car at the moment. And it's come through here as well. It really was just not this tyrannical, diabolical vehicle, you know. If you take too many liberties like I did there, of course the car is going to break traction naturally. But it really just, it's not this psycho killer car. And that was actually something that I was happy to learn about, because I did actually have the pleasure of seeing a P1 and I just fell in love with it. It slammed so close to the ground, and it just sounds, the sound is, it's just this bellow. It's absolutely unique and wonderful to McLarens. You have to say though, that wasn't much faster than the Porsche 918 through there. It was actually quite interesting the state McLaren was in when this car first came out, because honestly they seemed like they were supposed to be the Ferrari killers. They have this 12C, this absolutely fantastic car that just beats the 458 in every measurable way. But it just seemed like once the McLaren started reaching customers, people started realizing, hey, the build quality isn't great, and the reliability isn't great, and the customer service is really not great, as we've seen multiple testimonials online on YouTube and such. So there's really just this cloud hanging over the company of like, okay, are these guys really the real deal? Should we, of course they are performance-wise, but are they really a supercar manufacturer, like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, just something that makes you feel special, or a Porsche even? A Porsche makes you feel special. And honestly, I've seen a few 12Cs, saw a 720S. They don't really fill you with the same amount of excitement as a Ferrari or a Lamborghini does, even if it does beat it numbers-wise. But the P1 just smashes all of that out the window. It's just this slammed, bare bones, just almost alien-looking vehicle. I think it's absolutely epic, and while it might not be McLaren's peak performance-wise, I think it's absolutely their peak in terms of sheer design philosophy. While the car steps out every now and again, in all honesty, it still predictably puts in work in all aspects of the track. Incredible cornering feel as well as bonkers acceleration. The P1 seemed unbeatable, but nowadays, even Tier 2 vehicles are starting to catch up to it. Such as the Lamborghini Sian. I know, it's not really a hypercar, but at the start of the 2010s, it undoubtedly would have been put into this category. So, while it's bound to struggle on overall pace, the Sian is still a force to be reckoned with in regards to its visuals and overall balance. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing the video. Oh my god. Completely forgot. I was just busy staring at this car. Oh my god. This thing looks absolutely amazing. I think this is just a great combination of what they've done previously with their concept cars, as well as the modern design philosophies they have now. Just looks incredible. But okay. Looks aren't everything. Let's switch to performance. Let's get a nice launch going here. Whoa, alright, not bad, not bad. Not bad at all for a class behind the 918. Technically, in game. Oh, look at that. Oh, hey, we can actually see the hybrid system. Let's try and get on a straight stretch of road there. When I depress the throttle fully, you can see there, it's deploying its energy system there. So I don't know if that's actually accurate, if it has an active energy store. Oh, but when I'm braking, look at that. Turns blue to show me that I'm recuperating some of that lost energy. Wow. Of course, that is just like the real car would do. Interesting. Now, I do have to wonder if that's just placebo, just for visuals, or if there is actually a system going on here. The thing is loud. It's got about around 800 horsepower, this car. It's the most powerful Lamborghini ever produced. But man, it has to be said, Lamborghini really lagging behind in terms of sheer performance. The Aventador really kind of fell off a cliff. All the Aventador special editions really just lagged behind. It's supposed to be their flagship vehicle, but it can't even keep up with the Huracan at this point and the Huracan's special editions. A real shame, honestly, because I think the Aventador is just the coolest thing. I mean, come on. It's an Aventador. But it really just is not cutting the mustard. And if the Sian's, if that is how you pronounce it, if the Sian's performance in this game is anything to go by, that trend is sort of continuing here. Because, in theory, it has the four-wheel drive, the hybrid system, 800 horsepower, and a decent curb weight. It should be up there with the big boys, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be. See here on the back straight, we're doing around 270 in the Porsche. Yeah, capping around 255. Oh, came in a little too hot there, even at 255. Alright, that gives us a good run at the front straight. Let's see what we can do here. Remember, this was a little over 300 in the 918 in the P1. Come on. Use that 800. Come on. Oh, man. It's tapping out around 280. Oh, the braking, though. The braking is, I would say, just as good as the other two vehicles. And it has to be said, the balance feels great. Wow. That feels really good. Even better than 918, I think. That might be because it's dealing with a little bit more weight and a little bit less power. Of course, this is derived from Audi's four-wheel drive system, one of the most complex in the world. So it ought to be good. And of course, just like the 918, just pinning it out of there. Wow. Look at how the car shuddered through that. I do think this is a single clutch system, though. Trying to keep it tight. Wow, I could actually go a little bit faster through there. Oh, that's a neat little thing as well here. Let's see if we can change up gear. Keep an eye on the hybrid system meter. Look at that. As we go up a gear, it actually does go away. Even though I'm keeping my foot planted, it still goes away. That's a nice little touch there. Alright, I can already tell this car is going to be a little bit sluggish around this circuit. Again, it is a power circuit, so really, really going to be in the slow zone, this car. But that's absolutely fine with me. Just a joy to drive, really. This is so much fun. So, while not the fastest car on the market, the Sian is still a force to be reckoned with, putting a good step forward for Lamborghini. Epic visuals, incredible technology, and a brilliant soundtrack behind it. Despite the badge, an incredibly balanced vehicle. Unlike this thing. Everyone waited with bated breath for Hennessy's next move following the Venom GT. But time is a cruel mistress, and most lost interest. However, the F5 really began building steam again following the SSC Tuatara controversy. The whole situation really put the American hypercar back into hot water, which was only pulled out of it by two companies, with one respective car each, one of which was now deemed completely untrustworthy. And that leaves us with an 1800 horsepower, technologically advanced American car. Technologically advanced and American typically don't mix, but John Hennessey has been adamant that this is the next step forward for the American automotive industry. Alright, so just coming up on the front straight here. Alright, gonna pin it right now. Here we go. Building up the boost. Brake traction a little bit. Oh my god. 170, 180, before I could say 190, 200, 210. Oh, I'm gonna break down. Okay. Wow, that was actually too early. That's crazy. That's not a good sign. Oh my god. Oh, okay, okay. Actually held it quite well through there. Oh, it is, okay. It's squirrely, I will tell you that much. Jeez. Alright, just gonna take it through here. Oh, okay, it's a little bit too hot, wow. Yeah, this is a, whoa. So this has got, I think I got bored out to about a 7-liter V8 quad turbo. Has about 1,800 horsepower. That is just pushing me off the track right now. It's a little bit cumbersome. It's got that really long wheelbase just to make sure it's as aerodynamically sound as possible. Oh my god. When it comes to top speed, because it's trying to break 300 miles per hour with this car. I tried testing it earlier. I don't think there's a straight long enough in this game to actually test that. Of course, I don't think this is going to be exactly representative of what the car is going to be like, but oh my god, this is anything to go by. Look at that speed. That's, oh my god, braking traction constantly. Oh, this is hard work. A lot of lock there just to get it through the corner. It's going to pin it. Of course, a little more forgiving in this game for sure. In real life, I'd be way off the track by now. Just overcooking it consistently there. That's hard to get right. But once we open it up, look at this. 170, 180, 190. Gear change, 200, 210, 220. Get a little bit more brave there. Did not come back to bite me. Oh my god. That being said, though, it probably does need really good brakes in order just to be safe in general. In all honesty, I'm not really sure if the 1,800 horsepower mode is going to be legal on the road. I don't think it is. $1 million well spent? Well, I'm not so sure. She's going through gear 1 there. Might just be me. Bazinga. Not braking soon enough. Oh, as I go off. No. Oh, that's just embarrassing. Normally I cut something like that, but oh my god. Hopefully you could just see how hard I have to work for this thing. It's not very forgiving. Come on. Here we go. Straight line. This is your best friend. Come on. Yeah, single clutch gearbox. You can hear that shift is just not very fast. Maybe they just couldn't find a dual clutch system that could handle that much power. Oh my god. So, quite the car, to put it lightly. It's hard to tell how the car will behave once it finally sees a wider release. However, it's a mix of joy and sadness that the stripped-down, muscle car-esque ideals of the Venom GT are seemingly gone in favor of a technological leap, but the car still feels a far cry from a track car. But if we're talking about technological leaps, there's no better car than the SF90 Stradale. What an absolute monster of a car. 1,000 horsepower, 4-wheel drive, and advanced hybrid deployment system. It really is next level engineering. But is it a proper Ferrari? Alright. So the SF90, man. This is a strangely controversial car. I personally am just not a fan of this car, I'll be honest with you. Of course, it is one of the greatest technological achievements we've ever seen. It's just crushing every single thing that's thrown at it. Every single car, every single lap time, in terms of production vehicles anyway. It is just smashing absolutely everything. This 4-wheel drive, 1,000 horsepower Ferrari with this striking appearance, I mean, it's really it's putting in the work. Let's put it that way. And with an 8-speed transmission as well, with just lightning fast gear changes there. Just turns in on an absolute dime like a Ferrari should there. A little bit of kick out. Feels good. It really does. It feels good in this game. But I do have to say, not the biggest fan if this is the direction that Ferrari is going to be going for the next decade or so. Just really do not like that soundtrack. It's just not a fan of that. It almost sounds like the current F1 cars. But just not quite as throaty, honestly. It just feels, it sounds even less interesting than the current F1 cars, which I didn't think was possible, but it really does. Ooh, the car just dances around there. It does feel good. It really does feel good. God, it feels like I'm just toying with it. I'm going around at around the same speeds as the 918, which is the other fast 4-wheel drive vehicle we have here, and it feels like the car just does not care. It's just like, what are you doing? This isn't how you're supposed to drive me. I'm sorry, dude. turn in there. Wow. No drama at all if I drive it like a human should. not an ape. Oh, look at that. Even so, with all the downforce and everything, I think we're going a little bit faster than the 918 and the P1 did. As for the Hennesey Venom F5, well, that's a little unfair. But wow, you see the way it turned in there? That was incredible. The way it was able to hold itself through that corner too. Even though I got a little excited on the throttle there. Just try and pin it through here. Go down to here. Wow. This is sharp. This is a lot sharper than the other cars, I'll be honest. I thought the other cars felt sharper while I was driving them. This is just... It's almost like single-seater like the way it turns in. Finally, it seems we're at the point where vehicles are so mind-bendingly fast that they are truly difficult to comprehend and make the most out of. An incredible technical achievement, no doubt, but with weak visuals, a lame soundtrack, you have to ask, what's the point of a Ferrari if it's only a bright red McLaren? So then, which car is the fastest? And do the new cars pay for themselves with their performance? Let's get our cringe gamer gloves on and find out. So then, with that out of the way, let's dive into the lap times. These were set with minimum assists on a steering wheel setup, if you couldn't already tell. The Lamborghini Sian came in at a disappointing last place with a 201.9. Not necessarily surprising given its lack of straight line performance, but still a shame. Next was the Porsche 918 with a respectable 158.17. Considering what the other vehicles were able to accomplish, this is actually very impressive given its straight line performance. The P1 was up next with a 158.08, just barely beating the on-rails 918. Even in an arcade racer like this, you can just barely separate these two pace-wise. The Venom F5 came in with a very surprising 155.81, likely down to its ridiculous straight-line performance, even given the lack of traction control. I chose the Bahrain circuit in part to ensure the Venom F5 had a shot, but in hindsight, with its 4 very long straightaways, it probably gave it too much of an advantage, and on nearly every other circuit, I'm sure it'd be more in line with the 918 than the P1. And finally, the SF90 Stradale, with a blazing 156.96. The SF90 is essentially the evolution of the 918's archetype, with unbelievable cornering capability with class-leading acceleration with its 4-wheel drive system. Except it's 2021 now, and despite its strange appearance and lackluster engine note, it is quite simply the greatest technological achievement in this vehicle class, and is translated well into the game. The style pack itself is an overall success. The Sian is an awesome drive with the detailed cockpit interface, and the SF90 and the Venom F5 break through the barriers set by the non-DLC vehicles while not going too overboard. I don't love the Venom F5's model as it feels a bit slapped together, especially that driver console. The uneven power delivery, while understandable with 1800 horsepower, is so savage and difficult to manage to the point that it's not exactly fun. Still though, the inclusion of the well-detailed and extravagant Bahrain circuit more than makes up for it. So that's about it for the Project Cars 3 style pack. Did you guys like this video style? Hate it? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.